Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 1 of this podcast that we're starting up with me and my buddy Andrew, also Daily Sports Talk on YouTube. And today we are going to be discussing all things sports in a no-holds-barred, uncensored, well, maybe censored version of this. So, Andrew, let's talk. Let's do this.
Well, in my eyes, the first move I want to talk about is actually J.J. Watt. And I
Okay.
want to talk about what him going to the Cardinals means for them. So they have former Patriot Chandler Jones on the defensive line, who is still really good. He's still really good. I don't know why we Patriots didn't extend him, but they have him and they have Patrick Peterson and they have Hassan Reddick. I think adding a pass rusher like J.J. Watt to their team is huge because their offense already has a lot of firepower. And although people say J.J. Watt is overpaid, overrated, whatever you want to call him, the man has not caught a break ever in his career. He has
Right.
always been hurt. And I kind of would want to see what he would do if he was, never injured. In my eyes, he could have been one of the top 5 defensive players ever because he was just so good coming out of college. It was ridiculous seeing him. And then unfortunately, what happens to a lot of players is injuries, and that happened to him. But I think that for the Cardinals, adding a pass rusher like that is huge. But on the sad side of things, that division is the best in football without a doubt.
Yeah, the NFC West.
Without a doubt, that's the best. The NFC West is the best division in football. But I also think that adding a pass rusher like J.J. Watt will put quarterbacks like Russell Wilson, if he stays, Jimmy Garoppolo, if he stays, and Matt Stafford on their toes all the time.
Right. I think
they'll always be watching him.
I think the problem with Arizona for years has been their inconsistency when it comes to them actually being on the field. They may look good on paper, but when it comes to them on the field, it's nothing. There's nothing there. And they've had a couple good seasons here and there, like their few years ago where they made the divisional round and then the Super Bowl against the Steelers a while back. But other than that, I don't really remember Arizona ever being really all that good. So maybe this might be the year for Arizona next season with the addition of J.J. Watt and free agency is just about to start soon. So.
Right, and DeAndre Hopkins is still only getting better. So is Kyler Murray.
Oh, yeah, they have Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. I forgot about that, yeah.
Yes.
Right.
I feel like Murray is a little overlooked just because he was the first pick.
Right.
And last year, he didn't have the best year, but we all know what happened last year with everything. Nobody really had a good year last year.
No.
But I think he will be bounced back. And I think that him being paired with a receiver like DeAndre Hopkins is really good because he can move.
Yeah.
And so can Hopkins. They're both very mobile players, and Hopkins can come to Murray if he needs it. Like we saw last year against the Bills when Murray rolled out and stepped. Not every quarterback can make that throw. Yes, it was a hell of a catch, but not every quarterback in this league can make a throw off their back foot 50 yards.
And almost pretty much nail it. So
right. That was right. Yeah. Yes, it was an amazing catch by Hopkins to go up and extend like that, but I think the throw also gets overlooked.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
There are very few quarterbacks, I think, who can make that throw. Definitely one would be Aaron Rodgers, but there are very few quarterbacks who can make that throw off their back leg.
Would you put Mahomes in that conversation as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not expect that out of Kyler, though.
No. Who would have? Right?
Right.
So that's our rant on Arizona to start. That's basically what you're going to see in this podcast.
Random rants.
Random rants. So let's keep talking about the NFL because free agency is about to start. Lots of players are getting franchise tagged. Lots of players are kind of deciding on if they're going to stay with their teams. The biggest, one of the most shocking tags was, in my opinion, was Tampa tagging Chris Godwin. I did not see that one coming at all.
I didn't either. I actually thought that they would franchise tag Lavonte David instead of him.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Lavonte David would be a good franchise tag, but
I thought they would just extend Godwin for a while, but I guess not.
I'm kind of shocked there. And also another one was for the Patriots. Is it Thuney? Joe Thuney? Is that how you say his last name? I'm not quite sure. Joe Thuney?
Yeah, Joe Thuney.
Tooney. Okay, so
Yeah,
Joe
Joe
Tooney did
Tooney's going
not
to
get the
hit free
franchise tag.
agency.
Did not
He's
get the
going to hit free
franchise tag,
agency.
but that honestly that didn't surprise me. Last year they
Nope.
used the franchise tag on him, and that obviously didn't work out. So if he, but yeah, I mean it is what it is, man. Um,
But that's where the huge trade, well, not huge, but huge for us, if you're a Patriots fan watching this, with Trent Brown coming back.
right.
He was great the year that we won the Super Bowl. He was really good.
Which
He was
one? No, I'm kidding.
he
The
was
most recent one.
huge. Yeah. And he is a huge guy. He's like what, 6'8"?
Yeah,
Around there?
he's not the smallest guy. He's like 6'8", and he's like what 270, 275, something like
Yeah,
that.
somewhere around there. But I think that their priority of anyone on the line should be getting back David Andrews, if
Yeah,
anyone. Because Tooney's going to hit free agency. Somebody's going to overpay him just like they did with Nate Solder.
yeah,
And I think that David Andrews has shown that he needs to be back here because we need a center like him. And I
right,
think that should actually be their first priority is to get him back.
exactly. Um, so actually, one of the topics we discussed was Patriots free agency predictions. Um, so let's just get right into this here. Who is the quarterback of the New England Patriots going to be next season? Is it going to be Cam Newton or is it going to be somebody else?
Well, it's I think Cam Newton definitely has a shot, but listen to why. So I think it's either going to be Cam Newton or Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Okay.
But here are my reasons for that. So I think that I know we're going in a little bit into basketball here, but I think that Cam Newton and Jason Tatum, they both got hit with the virus, right? They were
Yep.
both doing pretty good. Like in those first 3 games that Cam played in, he was good.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
won,
He was great.
yeah. And
Only
then
one.
COVID hit, and then they went downhill.
Yeah.
I think that was a huge part of it, but it does not explain for Cam's arm still being not good. But I
Yeah.
think that last year was a completely off year for him and that we should get him back on a 1 year, but he's not our only quarterback. I think that we should get somebody, but don't trade for anybody. Like we don't need to trade up, take Mac Jones or anything like that. But he should not be the only quarterback on this roster. Well,
No.
besides Jarrett Stidham, but there should be 3 again. There
I
should
mean,
be
well,
3
we still.
quarterbacks on this roster.
I mean, if that only matters if the Patriots re-sign Brian Hoyer too. If they decide to go with him again, or if they let him walk, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Who is that? I actually think he's going to come back as a coach.
Yeah. Do you think
I
he'll
think he's
call it
going to
a career?
actually come back as a coach. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. That could make sense to me.
But yeah, in my opinion, what in the world is the point of trading for like well, not even big time quarterback, like someone like Teddy Bridgewater, if you don't have any assets for him? Like, why would you trade for someone and get him no assets? That's basically what we did with Cam, and
Yeah.
clearly that didn't work.
No. I mean, I read something earlier today. We're filming this Wednesday. This is going to be out Saturday, by the way. So uh, I read something earlier that N'Keal Harry is getting some trade interest, which number one is like why he hasn't really come into his full potential yet. But number two, um, that's concerning because he's as much as I don't want to say this, he's one of your top wide receivers.
Yes.
So that's interesting now because that changes everything. But I mean, there could be a couple reunions coming up. I don't want to switch. I want to switch over to the defense. Uh, the Dolphins are planning on, or maybe already have cut Kyle Van Noy, and
Yes, they have.
The Saints are planning on cutting Malcolm Butler. So if those both happen, I don't see why the Patriots can't get them both back.
I don't see why they wouldn't get Butler back. But I'm not sure if you saw this last year. At the end of week 1, Patriots versus Dolphins, when we beat them, Van Noy was he tried to grab somebody's chain. I forget who it was, but he was being pretty disrespectful towards us.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not sure what kind of impression that left on Bill and the rest of the coaching staff,
Well,
and Robert Kraft.
Well, I think Van Noy tweeted something saying that he would love to come back to the Patriots because he loves it here and stuff like that.
I
And
think he did. But again, I'm just not sure what kind of impression that leaves on
Yeah, and I agree with that.
Them because I mean, like grabbing someone's chain is a little disrespectful. Like,
Hmm.
but also we definitely could use him. We
For sure.
definitely could use him.
A crucial linebacker to that 2019 Super Bowl
Yeah,
winning.
if we can get them both for cheap, I mean, why not? I
Yeah,
mean,
right.
we're just trying to like
I mean,
win
also there was
again.
another one that shocked me that's being cut. Rudolph from Minnesota. Apparently, they're going to be planning on letting him go. And
Also,
what?
today, Saints cut Emmanuel Sanders.
He's going to be when we look at his career. I don't mean to sound disrespectful to Emmanuel Sanders, but when we look at his career after all that's done, all right, after all said and done, we look at his Wikipedia. Is that a cat in the background? No.
Yeah.
So when you look at his career, you'll see like 15 different teams because he's been almost virtually everywhere. Has he played with us before?
Played in Denver, I know, and then for San Fran and New
Yeah,
Orleans.
right. But it seems like he's played everywhere. So I think he's played with the Eagles at one point. Like, I don't know. But
Yeah, but what it looks like to me is there's no excuse for Bill to not do anything this offseason because
no,
there's
there isn't.
plenty of people out there. Kenny Galladay did not get franchise tagged, neither did Marvin Jones.
Yeah. I mean,
I think that
good
Kyle
options out there.
Rudolph coming here is almost a given because he
Right.
stated that he wants to come here, and I think
Exactly.
that he'd be very cheap. So I almost think that him coming here is pretty much a given at this point. I mean, I don't want to jinx anything because who
Right.
knows with Master Bill, but I think that him coming here is huge. But I don't think that Hunter Henry will come here.
Well, yeah, it remains to be seen. I would love to see Kyle Rudolph here. I think that would be a huge help to the tight end situation here. Uh, but let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about the Bruins and all of
All
NHL
right.
for a little bit because so at the time of this recording last night the Bruins lost to the Islanders in the shootout 2-1, and but Bruce Cassidy said today that he wasn't particularly upset with the effort. The Bruins actually did play really well last night. They just uh, couldn't get goals. And
Varlamov plays very well too.
right, he did. On top of that, Varlamov played fantastic. But Tuukka Rask, not like he had a bad game, or Halak, sorry, not like he only had a bad game. He only had one goal given up. So,
Right.
um, uh, but I'm concerned because if you're the Bruins and you're dealing with injuries on the defense, and you have Miller out right now, you have Lozon out right now, you have which are a couple key pieces to your defense, and then on top
Carlo.
of that you let Carlo, another one that just got injured thanks to Tom Wilson, and then you got you let Char and Krug walk over the offseason. Now
That's
the Bruins
five
are
of our six starting defenders from last year, besides Connor Clifton. That's it's a little concerning
in Grizzly,
in my book. And oh yes, Grizzly too.
right?
But that's a little thank God he came back.
Yeah, so now here's your starting six right now. You have Zaboral, you have Clifton, Grizzlick, uh, Vakanainen, Zaboral, and you got Tenorti. That's the top six.
Yeah.
That's the six right now. Who, by the way, Tenorti's been playing fantastic so far the first few games.
Mhm.
Uh, but I think as the trade deadline is going to be about a month from now, you have to think that if you're the Bruins, you're going to be talking to every team. Uh, Nashville's open to anything. I'd be talking with Nashville for Matthias Ekholm, another solid left-hand shot from the line who can really help us out there. You also could be talking to. I know you brought this up in one of my live streams. You wanted to see Quinn Hughes here. I'd be talking to Vancouver about that. Maybe you try to go after a guy like Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Yes, that's what I was gonna
I
say.
know he's the captain of Arizona, and I know he loves playing in the Phoenix area. But when it comes to him, he needs to. I think his skill and his potential uh, is not um, in the right spot. He shouldn't be playing in Arizona
Mm.
because he's way too good for that Arizona team. Now, Arizona, they have gotten really good over the past couple seasons, and I think they honestly could win the West if they really made a push right around now. Um, but if the Bruins are gonna trade for anybody, get a left defenseman, a
Mm,
left-handed shot on the defense. You also want to get some. I'm going on the rant. I'm stealing this entire segment. We're gonna do left-handed defenseman. You also want to go for some secondary scoring. There's a
yeah.
guy out there by the name of Joel Eriksson Ek who plays for Minnesota, who averaged 15 goals last year, who really can snipe from that right side on the one-timer, who can really help you out. He's a left-handed shot, which is something we need. And so there's another person you can get. You take it away because I need to breathe for a sec.
Well, actually, in the offseason, Ekman Larson was rumored to
Right.
come to Boston or Vancouver. And I think that Sweeney passed on him then because he wanted to see what we look like. And right now, we look like the hospital Bruins or hospital defense.
Exactly.
So,
I think Ekman Larson could be a perfect fit. That's why.
yeah, I think that he actually is the most ideal because he's a veteran. He's played for a pretty long time. Arizona, like you said, I don't know if Arizona is the right place for him. And I feel
No,
like he'd be a lot better like playing on a team where he could lead
a
the
contender.
defensive line. Yeah.
A contender. Yeah, for sure.
But I think that Sweeney will give up what Arizona wants for him.
I can 100% agree with that. Um,
Like DeBrusque,
let's talk about DeBrusque because Jake DeBrusque has averaged
healthy scratch.
in 17 games this season. He has a -5 rating with 1 goal to show for it. 1 goal with like 3 assists. He has like 4 points total. Now, I heard from a source, which I can't confirm is true, that Jake DeBrusque is on the trading block. Now, does that mean that a trade could happen? Sure. Does that mean a trade might not happen? Who knows? But all I'm saying is Jake DeBrusque is he's good, and I can't take anything away from him. He's good. Uh, but the effort he has shown in the past, I'd say honestly, 6 or 7 games has really solidified my decision that I believe Jake DeBrusque will not be a Boston Bruin become April 12th when the trade deadline is all said and done. If the Bruins make a move for Ekman Larson or a Matthias Ekholm, maybe you ship him down in a big blockbuster deal. Here's my ideal moment. You get a secondary scoring and a left-handed defenseman with this. You get Matthias Ekholm and Philip Forsberg from Nashville. In exchange, you get DeBrusque. You give Nashville DeBrusque. You give him Anton Bleed. You give him John Moore, get defenseman for defenseman, so it might help them out, won't really fill a hole, and also a second-round draft pick. That is the ideal package for Ekholm and Forsberg. Now, I understand Forsberg's contract is probably a ridiculous contract,
It is.
but if you're giving up that cap space for a star like Forsberg and a solid defenseman like Ekholm, I'm willing to take a cap hit for that. In my perspective, because I don't think the Bruins will be able to get Jack Eichel. I think he's worth way too much. But if you are going to get somebody from Buffalo, there's another guy that's being on the trade market right now, who I forgot was in Buffalo until I looked at the rosters earlier today. Eric Stahl, a solid center, third line playing. He can fit on the third line. You could move Coyle, and I would love to keep Coyle here, but you could move him if it's the right move. But DeBrusque definitely has to go. That's the number one thing. In any
Yeah.
trade that Sweeney makes, DeBrusque has to be in that package. He's just
I don't see
really,
us moving Coyle,
no.
honestly,
I don't think so
because
either, but it could happen. Who knows?
we signed him for really, really cheap. We got him for a really good deal. And he wants to be in Boston because he grew up in where? Weymouth? Was it Weymouth?
Weymouth, yeah. I think
Weymouth.
honestly, if Coyle wants to finish his career as a Bruin, let him finish his career
Yeah,
as a Bruin.
because we got him for really cheap. I'm not sure exactly what the contract was, but I know we got him for very cheap and for quite a long time. And I would be more inclined to move Corrali or Krejci before I move
Yeah,
Coyle because
I'll check his
Coyle does great with that third line. He does really good with that third line.
with yeah, I agree. His
But
contract
yeah,
currently is actually not that expensive. It's I believe that says a 6-year, $31.5 million deal.
yeah,
This is the first year of his new contract. He's making 5.25 a year. Um, Virtually, that's cheap when it comes to the star power that Charlie Coyle has. Um, There's also, I don't believe Charlie Coyle will get moved. Here's a person who I do think could move up from Providence to the Bruins. I believe it's time for Zach Senyshyn to step up. Hey, y'all, I'm editing this podcast, and it's kind of funny because the next day, Senyshyn got called up to the Bruins. After we filmed this Wednesday night. Thursday afternoon, I get the notification Senyshyn's getting called up. So it's just kind of funny. I figured I'd show that for you guys. He has been playing really solid down in Providence. You have that face. Do you know who Zach Senyshyn is?
I actually met him at Bruins Fan Fest in Manchester.
I was gonna say, yeah.
And I might be completely wrong here, but I thought I saw in your that we let him go. I thought maybe
he was put on waivers, but he did not get claimed. So
I see.
He's still here.
So we got him back. Okay.
So here's what you do, right? In fact, you could in the back to the trade talk, you could put Carson Kuhlman in there in that trade deal because he hasn't really done anything. Put Senyshyn on the damn taxi squad. Put him in that bit of 3 that can really help out your team if there's an injury. That's why you have a Greg McKegg there. Really fantastic name. Greg McKegg. Greg McKegg. It's a great name. You have Carson Kuhlman, and I believe the last one is Anton Bleed on there. So if you can move Bleed and Kuhlman, you can move Senyshyn and a Jakub Lako up from Providence, who I both think are doing really well down in Providence this season. So the Bruins, they have depth, and just Sweeney refuses to use it. You know what I mean? He just, there's certain players that you keep, and there's certain players that you trade. I think Senyshyn should get his shine. He should get his time to shine in the NHL. So I believe Senyshyn should move up.
This is off topic, but he's a really nice guy too. Like, I talked to him for a while. He signed a stick for me. He's a really nice guy. I met him and Frederick, who, by the way, Frederick is great. I love that guy.
He's getting trade interest. He's getting trade interest. I'm like, if Don Sweeney trades him, he's a marked man.
Why would you trade him now?
No.
Like, what good will that bring us?
Nothing. He is basically the enforcer of our team.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah. Him, Tenorti, Kevin Miller. Yeah.
Took Tom Wilson by himself. Good for him.
And he beat him too. It's not like he's beat him twice. It's not like Wilson's a tough dude. And Frederick's held his own, and I think he's honestly beaten Wilson in both those fights. So
yeah. Now, getting to what you said about the general manager, later when we talk about the Red Sox, I actually have some good things to say about their general manager and what I think he's going to do. Mm-hmm. But, I think that now is the time for Sweeney to be not only watching the Bruins games, but to be watching other teams' games and see how, like Matthias Ekholm, Forsberg, Ekman Larson, how they play.
Right. And see if that fits the Bruins' core.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because we obviously know that they're good, but we want to see how they play.
Exactly.
And,
the play style. Yeah.
Watch them close. Yeah, basically scout them, if that makes sense.
No, I get that. And here's another person from Nashville who you could consider. Considerably cheap. He can help you out on the second and third line if you move Krejci. Michael Granland.
Yeah.
Another good guy. Another solid player down in Nashville who can really shoot the puck and has a really good face-off percentage, which is crucial as a center. So
yeah.
If anything, if the Bruins need to do something. They need to make at minimum 2 or 3 moves at the trade deadline to really solidify their shots as a contender. Because I still believe, even though they've been struggling, I still believe the Bruins do have a really good chance of winning the Cup this year. It's just a matter of putting it together, putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Because I don't think all the pieces are solved yet.
Sam, I just realized when we were talking about the defense, we forgot about Mr. Charlie McAvoy. When we were naming all of the defenders, we forgot about McAvoy. Oh, that's embarrassing.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh God.
McAvoy, if you're watching this video, please don't take offense to that.
how'd that completely slip? I was just gonna say the Untouchables are the top line in him. But we completely forgot that he exists. So
How the hell can we forget about Charlie McAvoy? Honestly,
wow.
in my opinion, top 5 of one of the best defensemen in this league. How do we forget about him?
Oh man, that's embarrassing. Wow.
First podcast bloopers, folks.
That's on us,
Anyway,
McAvoy.
sorry about that. Sorry about that, Charlie. Oh my God! But the Bruins, they need to do some stuff at the trade deadline for sure.
I have no doubt, honestly, that they won't. Like they're gonna make some moves, I think.
Yeah,
Because
I think so.
yeah, it's showing.
It's showing,
Now.
and the Bruins need to do something. Honestly, don't wait until April 12th. Do something now if you can.
Yeah. Like the trade deadline is just like a deadline. Like it doesn't mean like you gotta make moves when you need them.
Yeah, exactly.
But at least get a defenseman here, because I mean we're down what 3 of them,
Right.
4 of them, something like that, and
So
we need
yeah,
one.
my advice to Don Sweeney: pick up the phone.
Mhm.
Pick up the damn phone. Call Nashville. Call Arizona. Call
Somebody.
Vancouver. Call Columbus for check in on Zach Werenski. Call Florida. Let's see what they're doing with Aaron Ekblad. Just call in. See what you got. See what's there. See what's there. See what isn't.
Even you just gotta ask like who's available. Like name me your defenders that are on the trade deadline.
Exactly.
Or on the trade block. Like at least just do that. Like get some work in now, because we've got about a month, just about like a month and 2 days until the trade deadline.
Right.
So don't make any like moves, like sudden moves right now. Just call some teams and see like who's available.
Just check in. I agree with that. Just check in and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. So while we're on the topic of the NHL, and I think that will be probably a main talk about throughout this podcast. So from what I understand, the NHL is no longer going to be broadcasting their games on NBC. Apparently, they're going to be broadcasting their nationally televised games on ABC and ESPN now.
So they're no longer on NBC? I thought.
Let me
I'm
double
not
check that.
sure.
NHL NBC contract. I'll look it up. Let's see what they say. NBC Universal has the NHL rights to the current season, carrying games on the NBC broadcast network and its cable channel NBCSN, which is being shut down at the end of the year. So NBCSN is already being shut down.
All right then.
So NBCSN is going to be going away. And I believe, yeah, with all that, and then I think the NBC Universal is actually making a lot of moves. Let's talk about that for a second. NBC Universal with the Peacock streaming service, which is now acquiring the WWE network now. That's going to be on exclusive to Peacock. You're going to have NBCSN going away, but you're losing the NHL, which is, in my personal opinion, your biggest viewership. And you're losing them because you let them walk at the end of their 5-year new contract that they signed just a few years ago. So at the end of the season, so starting in the fall, NHL national televised games will be broadcasted on ESPN channels. That includes ESPN, ABC, ESPN Plus, and Hulu, as well as ESPN2 and ESPN as well. So we're going to have to go. Now, that reminds me of the question. Now, let's talk about announcers, because we're both going to be aspiring sports announcers here. Does Gary Thorne come back and call hockey games again like it was, back in Game 7 in double overtime when Yzerman scores the game winner? Does he come back again?
I hope so. That'd be cool.
We're going to hear that iconic NHL on ESPN intro music, and it's going to be, man, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch next season.
Don't get me wrong. Emmerich was iconic on NBC. But now that he's there, the NBC games just don't feel the same. I don't know who the new guy is, but it just doesn't feel the same as when Doc was doing the games. Like when Doc was doing the games, like the intro music just got you hyped up and then you heard his voice. Now it's just like, who the hell is this guy?
Exactly.
Doc sadly retired, so
Yeah. Which he rightfully deserves. He's been a
yes.
broadcaster for 50 years. And
Mhm.
he's yeah. But there's something about Mike Emmerich when you hear the dun 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 dun,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh God, this could be a big game. Like I remember 2011 finals when the Bruins beat the Canucks in that 7-game series. I remember watching Game 6 of that amazing series when Luongo got pulled after 3 goals in the first period. I remember listening to the intro. I'm like, and I go in my 6-year-old voice, Dad, this is gonna be a good one. And I remember that, and yeah, so that music will always be iconic, the NHL and NBC
Mhm.
song. But NHL on ABC is coming back for the first time since like 2005. So it's been a while. So NHL on
Yeah, it's gonna be
ESPN and all
cool.
that. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that all works out. And apparently it's not like a cheap thing. Apparently the ESPN is paying like $400 million a year to
Holy,
broadcast NHL games. If that's what I understand.
my God.
Let me check that. Uh, let's see. NBC. Okay, so according to Andrew Marchand on Twitter, ESPN and NHL details ABC and ESPN will have 4 of the next 7 Stanley Cup Finals. ABC and ESPN will have 1 conference final each year. 25 regular season games on ABC or ESPN. ESPN Plus, as it is now the streaming service now, will stream more than 1,100 games, and then ESPN Plus and Hulu will exclusively stream 75 national games.
Wow.
Mic drop.
Yeah,
That's
that's
whoa,
huge.
whoa. That's a lot. Let me check that how much they're paying, because I heard I heard a ridiculous amount of money.
It's gonna
ESPN.
be a lot.
I know it's gonna be a lot. You can tell we're very researched here.
Oh yeah.
ESPN NHL deal. Let's check that. So ESPN PR, Walt Disney Company, ESPN NHL, all that stuff. Sean Shapiro on Twitter been told that ESPN will pay more than $400 million to the NHL as part of this deal. So it's not 400 million.
Holy crap.
It's not 400 million a year. It's 400 million in total over the next 7 years, which in theory is still a lot of money, which they can put to upgraded technology, upgrading the at home watching experience, all that
Mm.
stuff. That's crazy. So according to Chris Johnston, who works for Sportsnet up in Canada, the NHL still has a second broadcast deal to negotiate and finalize, which includes the 3 other Stanley Cup finals that are not being picked up by ABC, plus another deal with a streaming partner. So it'll ultimately be a lucrative deal when combined with the $2.8 billion coming from ESPN. So it is 400 million a year.
Wow.
That
That's a
good Lord.
lot of money. Holy crap.
The NHL's getting a
Like
lot of money. No, I can't see why the salary cap it'll be through the roof the next few years because of that.
nowadays you just throw money around for whatever the hell you damn please.
Yeah, exactly. So now you're to have more than enough opportunity to do that with this $3 billion coming from Disney to have the NHL being broadcasted. So apparently NBC could pick up the final 3 Cup finals, which would be okay. But NBC could very well pick up, according to the New York Post, NBC very well could retain half of the package and pick up the other 3 cups in light of the forthcoming NFL deals, in which pays double the amount for Sunday Night Football. Let's see here. The company is shutting down NBC Sports and NBCSN at the end of this year, but could use USA Network and its streaming service Peacock for the majority of the NHL games. Now, you can't rule out Fox or CBS for picking up the national games either, or you could just say ESPN have the other 3. That's
Yeah.
another that is another option you can obviously consider. So that is a pretty big deal that came out within the past 24 hours, that ESPN is now going to be the main home of NHL nationally televised games starting this fall. That's pretty sick.
That's really cool. Yeah.
And that changes everything when it comes to TV now, which is
Mhm.
insane.
Yeah, it's just completely changing now.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Where is that? Okay. Uh so I know you wanted to talk about the Red Sox.
Oh yeah, you want to talk some baseball now?
Here we go.
All right. So this is I know you're more the NHL guy. I'm definitely a baseball guy. So
I know a bit about baseball though.
yeah. So in my eyes, I know exactly what Heim Bloom is doing
Okay.
because seen it before. Back so I don't know if you remember this, but when we won the 2013 World Series, we had like guys like Mike Napoli, Stephen Drew, Johnny Gomes, Ellsbury,
Yeah.
Lester, Lackey, Salto Lamacchia, Ross, all those guys who I just said were gone after the either first or second season after we won that World Series.
So he's
Seems to
going for the win
me,
now method. He wants to win now.
seems to me that that's a pattern because David Price, Benintendi, Betts, um, Bradley Jr., like all those guys like that who have been gone were gone after the first or second season after we won the 2018 World Series. So it seems to me like we win the World Series and everybody goes. So, but I think the Red Sox are saving up for one person. There's no reason why he traded all of our outfielders and dumped Cap for no reason. Like you just don't do that. I personally think that next year the Red Sox are going to sign Chris Bryant.
Okay.
You know why? Because I think that they've been focusing on outfield, which is becoming less important part of the game because people just hit moonshot home runs. Like outfield back like in the mid 2000s was such an important position because
Exactly.
the balls would not necessarily get hit out all the time, they would get hit deep. But now it's just like everyone can just hit the ball out whatever they want to. I feel like infield is becoming more important because a lot of guys are either home run hitters or blooper or strikeout hitters. So I think that infield is becoming a lot more important, and the Red Sox already have a lot of good infielders like Enrique Hernandez and Bogarts, Devers.
Devers. You're gonna have
However,
maybe Moreland might resign. Who knows?
JD
Chavis. Dahlbeck.
Martinez, I don't see Martinez coming back after this season. I
No.
don't. No, because I don't. He had a rough season last year, and I kind of want to see how it goes this year. But I just think we have our power guys that are coming in to replace him, like Bobby Dahlbeck. He launched a grand slam today in spring training.
I did not see that. I think you posted on your story. I was too busy just scrolling through.
Yeah,
I'll actually watch it while you're
he
talking about it.
has amazing power,
He does. I'll give you that.
and um, I just think that Devers is becoming his arm's becoming too strong for third base. I think he's gonna move to DH. I think
Yeah.
because
Oh my God.
yeah, launched,
He
huh?
launched it. I think that went over the terrace on top of the monster at JetBlue Park. I
He's
think he
got an immense amount of
launched
power.
it.
But
Goodbye baseball. That ball will never be found.
I think that if you can create an infield centered around Bryant and Bogarts, that's a good infield to begin with. But then add Kike Hernandez, who is overlooked a lot, and
Yeah.
then either Devers or Dahlbeck at first.
Mm.
But I think it makes perfect sense because Bryant, I don't think he likes Chicago,
No,
and
I
third
don't think
base
I
is
did
an iffy position for us because we have Devers, but I just think he, like I said, he's getting too strong to play it. And I think Bryant would be perfect for this team because if you notice how he angles his swing, he hits the ball up and not extremely far, which is what you have to do to hit home runs over the monster.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I
I
think
think
Chris
that
Bryant
he would
could be a
love to play
perfect
at
fit here.
Fenway too.
hmm It could be a perfect fit. I agree with that.
I think we would sign a pitcher too. Now I'm not sure who we would sign. But hang on, let me just look at free agent pitchers real quick.
For right now?
No, after the
Or,
season. Maybe
I
a
think
guy
he was
like
signed a free agent right now. I think he's a free agent right now.
who?
Bryant. I think
No,
he's available.
he's with the Blue Jays. No, God, jeez, Cubs still for one more year. So he was rumored to be traded actually to the Blue Jays, but then
Okay.
they got other people like Steven Matz and Marcus Semien instead of him because
George frickin' Springer.
yes,
Let's
Springer
not
too.
let's not overshadow him.
And they most likely would have had to trade either Vlad Bichette or Biggio, which they were not comfortable doing for maybe 1 year of Bryant. So, but yeah, I think it's ideal for the Red Sox to sign him.
Right.
And maybe a small pitcher. Like, I don't think they go out and spend a lot of money on a guy like Noah Syndergaard or anyone like that.
No.
But they'll get somebody, like a pitcher like that can go behind Sale and Rodriguez.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it all makes sense having Bryant here because he's the kind of like the spark we need in our lineup too.
Yeah. He could definitely he can hit third or fourth and really lock down the
I'm
middle of the
excited for
batting order.
Verdugo though.
That kid is gonna be something. I'm gonna tell you
Jaron Duran too.
who?
Jaron Duran,
Yes.
he's gonna be good too.
I think the youth of our team is bright. The future of our team is very bright, and when you have guys like Bobby Dahlbeck, Michael Chavis, uh, Jaron Duran, who else did you say? Who else did you say? Duran and
Yeah, Tristan Casas, an infielder.
Pachas. You Alex Verdugo. You also have a guy like um, when it comes to your pitching, you said something you want to get a small pitcher. Well, you already have that guy who could be in the third spot. You have Nathan Eovaldi. You have a guy who really impressed me last season in Tanner Hawk. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He pitched really well last year, and I'm not sure who the fifth one's gonna be. I'm not quite sure.
Sale, Eduardo Rodriguez, Garrett Richards,
Garrett Richards.
who
My
we
bad.
signed in the offseason.
Sorry about that. Garrett Richards would probably fit in the third or fourth position.
He's really good when he's healthy.
Yeah,
But I mean,
he's super injury prone, and that's the
yeah,
problem.
that's the only thing.
But he's a solid pitcher when he's not injured. So
I feel like this game of baseball is changing though, don't you?
it's changing dramatically by the
Like
by the minute, to be honest.
you can just go out and get this guy, like who you just put in like to hit home runs. Like back in like the 80s and 90s, guys never did that. Like there was three parts of a lineup. There was leadoff guys who either bunted or drew walks. There was the 2 through 5 who hit with power, and then there was the bottom of the lineup who just tried to get on. Now everybody can hit a home run. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like the lineup doesn't even matter. Like I feel like the position of manager in baseball is becoming a lot less important, and the
It's
manager
irrelevant.
GM is getting a lot more important because like you don't like as a manager you don't even have to make a lineup like a good lineup anymore because anyone can hit a home run now.
Exactly. And that's why I think the Yankees are really overpowered. You have Stanton, Judge, is LeMahieu still there?
Oh
Another big
yeah,
hit. Brett Gardner. We can just go
Voit,
on.
yeah,
Lavoie,
Voit,
Voigt,
Torres,
Glover
man.
Torres. You can just go on and on and on. All these guys can hit home runs, and the Yankees have uh, cap space up their ass, apparently. I don't know how they have
Hmm.
it, but they do. And still have nothing to show for the past decade. I will never
Yeah.
understand that. I will never understand how that is. But hey, I'm not going to complain. I'm a Red Sox fan, not a Yankees fan. Not going to care. Don't really care.
Now
Yeah.
David Ortiz said it's boring. I don't necessarily like. I agree that it's changing, but I don't necessarily think that it's boring now. I
What,
feel
baseball
like
boring?
yeah, I do think though that strikeouts and walks are quite boring because you get up there like you want to see a guy hit a home run and then he's swinging for the fences and he gets out on 3 pitches. Like, that's just annoying. Like, I don't like strikeouts.
Me neither,
I
but
just
it's not like
don't.
they're gonna change that.
Right. I just don't. I just think that strikeouts are just like boring. Cause like baseball, like you want to see good hits, not like this dude just having one unhittable pitch and striking everyone out.
Right.
So
But to that to that, there's also a good point of strikeouts. It makes every hit more meaningful. It makes every hit more like, okay, that was a nice hit. Okay, at least he didn't strike out. He got on base.
yeah.
There's a positive to that.
Well,
But
walks too.
walks I see as pointless because it's like, man, that is the cheapest way to get on base. Oh, I let 4 pitches pass and they were all balls. I'll go down
Right.
to first base. I mean, I'm not saying change it. I'm just like, nah. And the fact that there's walk-off walks, of all the reasons a game could end, it's a walk
Mm.
or a balk or, you know, a walk-off hit by pitch. Like, what? How can that be? Why is that a thing?
The intentional walk too. Like
They
so,
changed that too.
like runners on second and third, you intentional walk somebody to get the out at every base. That is
A stupid idea.
I'm no, actually I'm fine with that because I mean, at least you're just like trying to do something. And then there's Barry Bonds who got walked with the bases loaded in high school, intentionally walked the bases loaded in high school.
I'd rather give up 1 than give up 4.
That's true, but I mean,
Yeah, because that
yeah, it
that
was
guy could
Barry
hit.
Bonds, so
That guy could hit.
yeah.
Now that's a
I feel like
debatable
it's
on if you
completely
want.
changed.
I feel like that. What'd you say? The game has. Yeah, it's changed.
It's
I'm
yeah.
I'm sorry, but I cannot sit through a 3-hour 9-inning game every single night. I just can't do it. And I know that you probably can do it. I can't do it. I don't understand how the people do it, but
It depends, honestly. Like if both sides have a lot of hits, like if it's a really good like offensive scoring game,
oh
I
yeah,
can. But if the guy's got 12 strikeouts through 5 innings, I'm just watching. They're like sitting, like watching people get out like that. I
mm,
can't go through because there's just no action. But like if like obviously every Red Sox Yankees game I watch, but
oh
like
yeah,
if there's a game with a lot of offense, then I'll watch it because I like to see good hits like that. But if there's like 20 combined strikeouts through 5 innings, that's just like, what? Why
yeah,
am I watching this?
exactly. Oh, so interesting. A pitcher's duel.
Right. Like,
Um,
yeah.
but but I will tell you, and I've said this on stream before, I'll say it again. Playoff baseball is a completely different storyline
Mhm.
versus regular season baseball. I will whenever the Red Sox when they were in it in 2018, you know damn well I was watching every single game from start to finish. It just
Playoff
completely different
baseball is great.
because it means everything. Every game means something. You know. Even game 1 of the ALDS, I'm like, okay, we got to win this or else we're down. Or else we're already down in the series and best of 5 in the LDS and all that stuff. So
I wish the NHL and NBA would do a game like the wild card game. That'd be so fun to watch because each team would leave their heart out on the floor or the ice. So that'd be cool to watch. As a wild card game.
that's why, okay, the NHL's divisional format. Why do you call it a wild card if there's no wild card game? Have 7 teams qualify for the playoffs and have 2 teams in the wild card spot, and the winner of that wild card game makes the playoffs and will face God knows who.
Mhm.
Why can't that be a thing? You know what I mean? Why does it have to be 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7? Why can't there be 7 playoff spots for each team, for each division or each conference, and have the 8 decided in a wild card game? Why can't
Yeah.
that happen? Broadcasted on NBC, I don't care, or ABC next season, ABC and all that stuff. I don't care. But that's my opinion. Same with the NBA. I agree with that.
Do you also feel like 7 game series are a little too much sometimes? For the championship game, absolutely not. But like for the first series, like oh my God, 7 games for the first series
Yeah, I agree. Um,
should be 5.
let's take a look at the AHL for example. They have what 5 game series for the first 2 rounds, and then conference finals and those cup finals are and the Calder Cup are best of 7. Why
Yes.
can't they do that here in the NHL for
Right.
TV
Why does
viewership?
everything have to be 7?
Why does it TV ratings? Is that why TV viewership, making the money, making the all more commercial, all that stuff? But I could see that. I said that I can see that from an economic standpoint, but from a players and a team standpoint, brutal. Ugh, game 6. Ugh, game 7. Why can't
Yeah.
it, why can't it be best of 5, best 3 out of 5 wins this first 2 rounds? Why can't that be a thing? I don't understand.
Yeah, because like literally the first 2 games don't matter. Like no, like you don't have to win those because they don't matter.
I mean, it would be nice to win those, but they're not
Well,
important
yeah,
because
but
game
I
3 and 4 can be bounced back. If it's best of 5, every single game matters, which means more viewership. Like, oh, game 1, whatever. Game 1 of the best of 5, oh, I'm gonna turn that on. I'm gonna watch it. You know what I mean?
7 games is just pointless for that early in a playoff series. I think.
Hmm. But the conference finals and the cup finals stay best of 7. That's a given, because that is just too important.
Mhm.
Decides who makes it and decides who wins it. So I agree with that. What else was on the agenda? What else we were going to talk about?
Want to talk some basketball?
Hey, let's give basketball some love. Let's talk about the
Yeah.
NBA.
Celtics. Danny Ainge need to do the same thing that Don Sweeney will hopefully do and get on the damn phone. Get somebody here. I don't care if it's me. I don't care if it's you. Get somebody here.
Yeah,
Like
I would
make
not
a
help.
trade for somebody.
I would not help that team. I think I'd make it worse. Trust me, you can ask my friends on that one.
We need. Man, I think we need a big like
Yeah, we need a
Vucevic.
big guy. We need yeah, I mean we have bigs. It's not like we don't have bigs. We need that guy. We need
Mhm.
that big name on the down low. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a guy like Vucevic.
Who I'd be happy if we get him, right? If that's the
Mhm.
only thing we do on the at the trade deadline, I'm solidified with that because at
Yeah.
least we got some help down low. Because the shooting, I'm not worried about. It's the defense down low and the paint. That's what I'm concerned about. You know,
Is it just me, or do I think or do you think also that the Nets are way too overhyped?
I don't think they're overhyped. I think uh they're not. I was gonna say they're overrated. They're not overrated in any way. I think they've proven they're a good team. Uh, I think they're just overstacked with a lot of players with cap space that I don't understand how they have. They have Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. There's your top 5. How the hell can they afford that? I don't
Well,
understand.
Blake Griffin is only making $1.2 million.
Right. But DeAndre, sorry, got a notification on my phone. DeAndre Jordan, how much money is he making? 2-3 million, and then Kyrie's making like this
A
mega
lot.
contract. KD mega contract. Harden mega contract. Where where is their cap space? How much money are they spending? And who is on the bench? A bunch of scrubs? How can they afford
Yeah,
all this? I mean, sure, it's New York, but like seriously, it's I don't know.
I just think that it's too like I wouldn't want to have that many players on the team because they all like teams like that almost. I mean, the Warriors, but I mean like teams with 3 of the top 10 players in the league. I mean, they all need the ball in their hand though. That's the only thing is they all need the ball in their hand,
I agree.
and I just don't like they'll make it far in the playoffs. So I just don't know. Like, I think the Lakers would beat them honestly. I think the Lakers would handle them. especially now that they signed Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell, or the Jazz. Someone like the
Yeah,
Jazz.
Utah has been a surprisingly amazing team this season. Same with Phoenix. As another surpriser, the Phoenix Suns, another surprise team in the West.
Yeah. I actually called Phoenix I thought Phoenix was gonna be good as soon as they got Chris Paul. I was like, he's the guy they need to be good.
I thought the same thing. I was like, Chris Paul's going to Phoenix. They're gonna be a contender. Definitely top 5 in the West, and they're second right now. So.
Yes.
Right, second, third. Let me check. Yeah, I think they're second. Standings. Yeah, they're second with they've got a game in hand over the Lakers. So the Suns, if you're over LeBron's Lakers team, LeBron, if you're a game ahead of LeBron with you have Dwight Howard over there, Anthony Davis who's out right now. You have a lot of good players over in LA. If you're ahead of them, Phoenix is looking good. Both Arizona teams that are playing right now are actually looking really good. Arizona, the Coyotes, and the Suns are both looking solid.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, good for Arizona, man.
I was just thinking, I have an alternative option for the Celtics. Like, say they don't get their big guy this year, right? We obviously know, and it's pretty damn obvious, that Tatum and Beal want to play together. Well, guess who's a free agent after this season?
Bradley and Beal. There you go.
And I think that the Celtics will definitely make a push for him.
Oh, yeah.
And I also think that they should develop Rob Williams. Like, I was talking to my dad, and he's during that draft, and he said that we got a steal with Williams, and that he could have been a top 3 pick. Like, my dad thought that it was going to be the top 3 picks were going to be DeAndre Ayton, Rob Williams, and Luka. But Rob Williams was just so lazy in college. Like, he was really good, but he was just lazy and didn't want to work for anything. But Danny Ainge took a chance on him, and we're seeing now that he is really good.
It worked
and
out.
I think he can develop into a starting center. So I think if we have a lineup that's Kemba, Beal, Brown, Tatum, and Williams, watch out other teams.
That's a super team. And that's only if Kemba Walker's still a Celtic by the end of the season. He could get traded. That's another option.
He will be. I think he will be.
Yeah.
Ainge wouldn't have signed him to a max if he didn't trust him. If he didn't completely trust him, he would have signed him to a 2-year deal and he'd be gone by now. But Ainge signed him to a max for a reason.
So
That's what I think.
Kemba Walker stays?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that him, Brown, and Tatum and Williams stay. I do think Tice is gone.
Okay. For Vucevic? If we get Vucevic?
It's a huge cap hit, and I'd rather have Beal than him.
Okay.
But who's the center we can get? Help me brainstorm here. Has Drummond gotten bought out yet?
No, he's finishing up his contract with Cleveland.
Oh, he is?
And then there's rumors he's going to sign with Brooklyn over the offseason, so it wouldn't matter. Again, what cap space? Where are they getting this cap space from? Have you checked Brooklyn's cap friendly? There's like nothing with Kyrie, Kevin, and KD and Harden's contracts. There's literally no cap space. So how the hell are you going to have Andre Drummond on top of that?
Wait, didn't DeMarcus Cousins just get released by the Rockets?
Okay. Attitude. Again, I want to take anything away from the guy, but the attitude of that kid,
Attitude sucks, yeah.
I don't want it. I don't want him getting ejected 30 times in a season. That would just...
Yeah.
I hate to go there, but it's true. He gets ejected left and right, and technical fouls left and right. He's just he's a very emotional person, and when that happens, when emotions overtake him on the court,
yeah,
it's like the
he's
angry.
Gone.
It's like the what's the Emotions movie? He's like the angry guy. He's just like he's just
anger.
Batshit crazy on the floor, and it's just not. He's not.
Wait a minute.
What?
Hang on. Yes.
Andrew just had an epiphany.
We could get Vucevic because I forgot we have that trade exception, and we would it wouldn't be
Oh
it
yeah,
wouldn't
don't we have
it
like
wouldn't be a salary cap
$30 million
hit.
extra? Do we have like
Yeah,
30 extra million
but
dollars?
for trading only, and it wouldn't be a salary cap hit. So we could sign.
Vucevic.
Holy shit. Okay,
Vucevic.
so
Price is
you're
right.
telling
Come
me
on down.
that if Ainge did his job, our lineup could be freaking Walker, Beal, Brown, Tatum, Vucevic. Holy shit.
Holy shit. Okay. If that
But what
actually
does that
happened,
leave our bench with? Me and you. You know, like
deals of free agency, Vucevic would be moderately, eh. I mean, you'd probably have to give up Tice. Maybe I don't want to, but maybe you have to. Marcus Smart and maybe a second rounder for Vucevic. That's probably the best offer we could give him. Because remember, or maybe we can throw Grant Williams in there. I don't care, but because I don't really care about him. Not gonna lie. No offense to the guy. But if that's probably who you throw in for Vucevic, and honestly, I think that's a fair trade. Vucevic is a
maybe like
star.
Williams, Tice, Edwards in like a first or a second, something like that.
Carson Edwards, that's another one. So you can take Smart out of the equation.
Yeah, Danny said, "Here, take the shit we don't want and give us Vucevic."
Exactly.
You know?
Makes sense. Hey, it is what it is, man.
I completely forgot about the exception. But now, so Ainge, so he was caught trying to be too greedy with the Hayward trade. Um, he so the Pacers initially offered Miles Turner and T.J. Warren for Gordon Hayward, but he wanted Miles Turner and Victor Oladipo for him.
Oh, that was a bad idea.
We don't need Victor Oladipo, so the Pacers said, you know what, screw that. You're being too greedy. We're not trading with you.
The thing is, we could have used T.J. Warren. He could be. That would be.
We don't need Oladipo though. That's the thing.
A cheap contract. You could probably play sixth or seventh guy on the bench. Why? And plus, you have a starting center in Miles Turner who has solidified himself to be one of the top 5, arguably centers in the league. So why? Why wouldn't you go after? Why wouldn't you take that? I would, if I were Danny Ainge, I would have taken that as quick as a snap of a finger. I don't get it.
It's plain and simple. He's trying to be too greedy, and we don't need Victor Oladipo. Like
No.
we could have used T.J. Warren way more than him.
Yeah, good bench player, could be in the second rotation. I don't see it. I don't see his logic. He wants all the star players, and honestly, it's been proven before that just because you have all the star power does not mean your team is going to be as good as you think it is. I mean, let's take a look at the facts. Let's take a look at the right before they got Blake Griffin. Let's take a look at the Nets. They weren't that good before they got before a couple weeks ago before Harden, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Lots of stuff going on.
Now, Victor Oladipo is rumored to be going to the Heat, either on the trade deadline or next offseason. The Heat would have to give up Harrell for him.
For sure, and possibly Jimmy Butler for Victor Oladipo. So, wait, why would Miami ever take that? I'm sorry, no offense.
I think they'd be more inclined to sign him next year because they don't want to give up Butler for him.
Right. There goes your starting shooting guard and your starting small forward for Oladipo. Again, no disrespect to Oladipo, but you're not worth Tyler Hero, their future, and Jimmy Butler, their win now top star. You're not worth that. No offense.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I think nowadays some teams ask for way too much.
Bingo. They ask for way too much, and it bites them. It really does.
Now, here's the question that keeps coming up, though. Now, as of right now, March 10th, would you have traded Brown for Harden?
Jaylen Brown? Still, no. No. The reason why? From an economical standpoint,
Harden's a headache.
That contract is way too much, and he's
brutal.
A pain in the to deal with. And I don't think Boston needs that. Harden and Stevens would not be a good duo. Harden and Ainge would not mesh well. Unlike Jaylen Brown, who wants to play here, who should play here for his entire career.
Yeah.
And he's earned that right to say that he can play here for the entirety of his career. Jaylen Brown for James Harden, that would be, along with the Kyrie deal, one of the worst moves in Celtics history. In my personal opinion, of that Kyrie deal, I never liked it. I originally was like, okay, Kyrie Irving, but like Isaiah, we just gave up IT for him. What? Wait a minute. Hold on. That's not a good idea. You know?
Yeah, I feel like Beal would mesh better though, because Beal and Tatum came from the same neighborhood in St. Louis.
They've been friends for basically their entire lives.
And they want to play together. Harden doesn't want to play with anybody.
Harden wants to. If Harden could, he'd have the whole damn team to himself. He'd have Harden versus everyone, and Harden would give them a run for their money. That's it.
Man, if Danny can make that happen, though, my God. You get those two.
You get Beal and Vucevic with that trade exception and spend money to get Bradley Beal. The Celtics are going to be the beast of the East next season. Milwaukee's still going to be good. Miami's still going to be good. It's not like teams are not going to be good next season. It's just that, or Philadelphia's still going to be good and all that. But Boston could steal the East next season. Now, this season, I'm not even guaranteeing the Celtics make the playoffs this year. I'm not even putting that out of the question. Same with the Bruins.
The playoffs.
I don't know.
They should make the playoffs. I just don't know if they'll win anything this year.
I'm saying
this year's a weird year.
I'm saying the same thing for the Bruins. I'm not sure they're going to make the playoffs.
All depends on the GMs.
Yeah, I'm being completely honest.
They got to do their job.
I'm going to let them do their job, but right now, with the way the Bruins have been playing, I don't think the Bruins make the playoffs. That's my hot take. I said it in my NHL playoff regular season predictions video. I said if the Bruins don't get Char or Hoffman, they're not going to make the playoffs, and I still do not believe they're going to make the playoffs, even though they've proven that they're a great team and they can make some moves at the trade deadline. If they can't finish games, if they can't win games, the Bruins won't make the playoffs, and I can say the same thing with the Celtics. That's my opinion. Thank you for coming to that talk.
All depends. Like, it completely depends.
Depends on the game
on what happens,
and on the ice. That's it.
They gotta play well and they gotta add people. Because there's no team that's good with just keeping the same team together.
Right. They're never.
Now,
teams adapt and teams change.
Something that Steven said made me think that they're not going to trade Smart if they don't absolutely have to. So Steven said that every year that we've had Marcus, we've made the playoffs, and there's a reason to that. I think that he's a huge part of this team, and that we can't trade him.
I don't think we trade Smart either. The only reason Smart leaves if it's free agency and he decides to go. That's it. Don't force it. If he goes, it has to be his decision. We're not going to let him walk. Offer the contract. If he says no and he doesn't want to play here anymore, go for it. I mean that's his decision, you know. But that's that when it comes to the NBA. I think that's that because I think we've covered the NBA for like 15 minutes straight.
Yeah.
So, let's see what else we were going to talk about. We talked about all four leagues. Pretty much. We talked about the NFL. We talked about the NHL for a while, NBA for a while, MLB for a little bit. So we talked about all four of our teams.
Yes. For a couple more minutes before we end this, could we just cover the NFL draft for like a couple minutes? Because I kind of want to talk about that.
You know probably a lot more about that than I do, so I'll let you have it for a few minutes. I'm going to get some.
I just think that in this draft, there are no guarantees. There is no guarantee Trevor Lawrence goes first.
No, there isn't.
Because it all depends on if if any trades happen, like if the Jets trade away 2, or if the Bengals trade up, or if the Dolphins trade away their pick, or if like anyone trades, like I still think that Trevor Lawrence will probably go 1, but there are no guarantees for the rest of that draft. Like the
wide
Jets
open.
could take anybody. I do think the Bengals will end up going tackle Penei Sewell from Oregon. But like I don't know how where Justin Fields will go. Like I don't know what pick he'll be.
Oh, Josiah's gonna like this one for the Cavs. Sorry to interrupt. Cavs signing Quinn Cook to a 10-day contract.
Okay.
He'll like that. There you go. Some NBA news coming in. And the Spurs are willing to trade, are working on trade scenarios for LaMarcus Aldridge. Whoa.
Okay.
Holy.
Marcus Aldridge.
LaMarcus Aldridge won't be back with Spurs. They're working on trade before they let him go over the offseason. Wow.
Danny. Call San Antonio.
Hey, San Antonio, you want to talk?
Yeah, that would help. You know,
that would help a little bit.
Like him,
I mean, I'd be willing to give up instead of Vucevic. I'd be willing to give up Tice and a couple of other pieces for Aldridge.
Mm-hmm.
Star, top 5 power forward and center in the league. Please give it. Come here.
Yeah.
Come to Boston. But anyway, back to the NFL draft. Sorry to interrupt. That was just my breaking news that we actually just learned about right as we're recording this.
I think the Patriots, though, are not going to take a quarterback because what are they going to say? Like if they want to sign a guy like Kenny Galladay, hey, Kenny Galladay, want to come play with Mac Jones? Like, no, he doesn't want to come play with a rookie quarterback. He wants to come play with a veteran and experienced quarterback like a Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Fair.
Or what's his name? Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett. Do you think he could come here?
Possibly, because the Colts just got Wentz.
Yeah.
I think it's possible that he could come here.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Fitzpatrick, Brissett, or Cam Newton. One of those 3, I think it will end up being.
So I think it was Max Kellerman who said this, that the Patriots, the only way they get Jimmy Garoppolo is if they give up Gilmore and a second rounder. I'm like, in theory, that sounds great. But would San Francisco really only take Gilmore and a second rounder for the star quarterback of their franchise? What? Sorry, I don't want to talk about drugs, but what kind of crack is he on? If that honestly sounds like a good trade for him, I don't understand.
Well, if you remember, Belichick gave up Garoppolo to the 49ers for really, really cheap. So they're not going to give up. They're actually, if anything, going to make us give up a lot for him since we gave him up for so cheap to them. Because that's what GMs do. They're all like dirty, like cutthroat people. Like we gave him up for a really cheap. They're going to make us give up a lot if we want him back, which I don't think it's a good idea to get him back anyway. Because he's not that good. His arm's not that good.
I'm leaving all options on the table at this point. I heard that neck crack.
Oh, you did?
I heard that one.
I just think it's pointless to trade for a quarterback like that before we get any assets, because if we wait too long and we get no assets, then we're not going to get a quarterback and we're next year. So I think we first have to get some assets, like guys like Kyle Rudolph, or just get a quarterback first so these guys at least know who they're playing with, who's going to be throwing it to them.
Makes sense. Makes sense to me. I mean, I don't know.
It's all a waiting game here now. Just got to wait for people to do their job. Can't predict anything now because anything can happen.
Yeah, because when does free agency start? Has it already started?
No, I think the free agency opens in a couple weeks.
Okay. Bill Belichick better be on the phones right now, looking at options, calling agents, seeing what's available, seeing what's not, seeing who wants to play where, all that stuff. I just look at all options, consider everything, and that's what I give the advice to the Patriots is consider all options possible.
The New York Times says in NHL free agency, your team either goes broke or stinks. That's pretty true.
What was that? Who said that in the New York Times? The
Yeah.
goes broke or stinks. I mean, you could say the same about the NBA. Let's be honest
Yeah.
here. Let's be fair.
The NHL free agency, NHL, God, and NFL free agency actually begins a week from now. So we could have
Oh,
a free agency special podcast that day to see like if there's any moves made that day.
I say we record it when free agency opens.
Yeah.
So like
And
at
we
like
can
3 o'clock Eastern when it opens or whenever it opens for, I don't care. We
yeah.
record it then so we can cover it as it's happening. You know? And maybe we'll live stream it. Maybe we'll live stream this podcast instead, and maybe instead I don't
Yeah.
know. Or I don't know. We can't show our faces. Never mind. So maybe we'll record as it's happening, and we'll upload it like the next day or Saturday or whatever it is. But yeah. So that's the plan. We might do a free agency special next week. Um, so anything else you want to cover before we wrap things up tonight?
Um yes, I actually just want to quickly speak about the Tom Wilson thing. And it's no bias that I'm a Bruins fan here, but I actually talked to my friend who's a Canadians fan. Yes, I know
First of
that.
all, as a Bruins fan, why are you friends with Canadians? I'm kidding.
I know.
I'm
But
completely kidding.
yeah.
I have a friend who's a Leafs fan. I get it. It's fine.
Yeah. But I talked to him, and he even said that it should have been at least 10 games because he was a repeat offender.
No, he's not a repeat offender technically because it's 18 months. 18 months without going to suspension. He's technically not.
Yeah, but I mean,
I know. Let's
you
be
know
fair.
him by now.
Yeah. Uh, it. But his last suspension was 20 games. 20 games. How is that not? And that wasn't even. And I look back, that wasn't even as bad as a hit as that one was. How is that only 7 games? On what planet is that not at least 10?
Like Nazem Kadri, 2 playoff series in a row, 2
Not two
illegal
years in
hits.
a row, just cheap shots. DeBrusque and who was it the
Tommy
first time?
Winkle. Is that his name? Tommy
Tommy
Winkle?
Winkles? Oh,
Wingles.
holy crap, that is a name I haven't heard in years. In
Tommy Wingle.
years. It's been, what, 3 years since he's been here?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Do you know Tim Schauer went to
Yeah.
Yeah,
Family friend taught him.
yeah.
And
A
that's
family friend
actually
taught him in school? That's cool.
how I got this. So it was David Pastrnak bobblehead giveaway, and that family friend was at the game that I was at, and she said she was going in the locker room to talk to Tim later and ask who my favorite player was, and I obviously had said Pastrnak. She got the bottom of the bobblehead signed for me,
Wow.
signed by Pasta, right
Lucky.
there. It's really cool. Holy
Hey,
cow.
but that's okay. I mean, that's really cool. That's dope. I mean,
At the time, he was just my favorite player because I liked his last name, but now
he's my favorite player because he's the best player on the
mhm.
team. Now I see why.
Man, did you see in that game though against the Islanders what Marchand did? He just grabbed a hold of somebody.
Okay, so here's what happened, and I'll break this down. So last night, for us, during the second period of the Bruins-Islanders game, there was a cheap shot by Oliver Wahlstrom on Connor Clifton, which he should have gotten penalized for, and it even said in the NHL app he got 2 minutes for boarding, which was right. Marchand took exception, wrapped the guy up, put him on the ice, started pounding him, started beating his, and then all of a sudden, you look at the scoreboard. Islanders somehow get a power play out of this. Should have been what it should have been, canceling penalties, 4-on-4 for 2 minutes. That goal by Brock Nelson never should have happened because it wouldn't have been a power play. So, in theory, that goal should never have happened. Never.
Yeah.
It should have been 5-on. It should have been 4-on-4, which was deserved. Marchand deserved the roughing because he punched him. I mean, I would call a roughing. That was a good call, but Wallstrom not getting a penalty for boarding Clifton almost into the crushing his his brains in. Apparently, headshots are now a legal thing. Tom Wilson and Oliver Wallstrom both got away with it in the game. I mean, Wilson got 7, but Wallstrom is not getting a call from the league for it. So I'm like, great. Let's just do headshots, huh? Headshots and cheap shots are apparently allowed in the league now.
Dangerous. Headshots are really dangerous.
Oh my God. CTE and brain surgery and brain injuries, concussions. Oh my God. Ugh. It's a mess.
Yeah. And the boards don't help either because the boards can kill
Wood
you.
and there's glass. Like that stuff has no give.
Hurts to
That
get
hurts.
hit in the boards.
Huh?
Yeah. Hurts to get hit in the boards.
Yeah. I mean, hitting the boards itself is wood. There's glass on top. There's no give on either one. So that hurts. I mean, there's a little bit of a give on the glass, but on the boards, that's straight wood. If you crash that wood, that wood's not breaking. It's not breaking. You're not breaking the wood. The wood's breaking you. So you know. So Tom. So what have we discussed? We've talked about the NFL. We've talked about the Patriots and what they need over the offseason. We've talked about the Bruins and their needs at the trade deadline. We've talked about the Red Sox and how great they've done over the offseason, arguably one of the better offseasons in a long time. Red Sox should definitely be one of the underdog teams this year who could definitely make a run for teams' money in the playoffs if they make it. I think they could make the playoffs with that team. I think they should and could and should make the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
At least the wild card. If they make the wild card game, at least it's a successful year.
I think they're going to be better than the Rays because the Rays lost a lot of pitching.
They lost.
I don't think they were that good to begin
Snell? With. Did they lose him?
Oh yeah, he's with the Padres. They're going to be good.
Padres are winning.
They lost
hot take.
Harley Morton.
Hot take. Padres are winning the NL West. Quote me now. That is my opinion.
Yeah.
The Dodgers aren't as good as everybody says they are. I mean, they won the World Series. I mean, they're probably going to end up making the playoffs anyway. The San Diego Padres are winning the National League West this year. That is my hot take.
I think they are too.
Quote me.
I said that from the beginning.
Quote me.
Right when they got Snell.
And I will literally eat crow right here on this podcast when October comes around and the Patriots, the Padres don't win the NL West. If they don't win it, I will literally get crow, cook it, and eat it right here on this podcast. And that's not even me joking. I'm not even just saying that. I will actually eat crow.
They are going to be good. They got Snell. The Rays also lost Morton.
They got Charlie Morton too?
The Rays lost Morton.
Where's he now?
Atlanta.
Rays are going to have a solid pitching rotation this year.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I just don't think the Rays are going to be good this year.
I think they'll still be in the top 3 in the East, but they won't be fourth maybe. Toronto is looking good. And the Yankees are obviously going to win the division. I don't see why they.
And then there's the Orioles.
The Orioles are going to figure out a way to suck even more than they did last year.
Yeah.
The Orioles, did they even win 20 games last season? In their 60-game season, did they win 20 games?
Man, I don't know.
I made that, by the way. I made that in the trash can.
Let
me check that.
And there's the battle of the crap teams with the Tigers and the Rockies, Orioles.
No, the Rockies aren't going to be bad. I don't think. I think they'll be all right. They won't win. They won't win the division, but they'll be all right. They'll be like the middle. Orioles 2020 record. The Orioles were better than us last season.
Yeah.
I'm just going to set my phone down. They were 25-35. The Sox were 24-36.
You know,
Bum, bum, bow, bow. Hey, but that's okay. I mean, the Orioles are gonna suck again, and it's not. The, wait, the Orioles the last time they're good was 2013. That was
mm-hmm.
8 years ago. What? And they said that same thing with the Detroit Red Wings in the NHL. The they said years ago they were gonna rebuild, right? What
Oh yeah,
rebuild? It takes you a decade to rebuild. Is that what you're telling me? So by 2023, you guys gonna be good again? Because that's the case. I want to see it. Spend the cap for
right.
once and really actually do something here. Good lord, that's my opinion on Baltimore. They have I don't remember the last time they ever spent the cap.
Yeah, they
Have they
were
ever?
a good. Well, they were a good team back when Machado, J.J. Hardy, Chris Davis was actually decent.
Nelson
Adam
Cruz.
Jones,
Nelson, remember
Cruz.
Nelson Cruz when he was there? That one year,
Yeah.
1 or 2 years he was there. That team was lethal.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh man, Baltimore uh is the Humpty Dumpty of the MLB.
Mm-hmm.
They just they look good. They're at the top, and then they just tumble down the hill. They usually they started the division the season last year pretty good, and then they pulled a Humpty Dumpty and went down the hill.
Yep.
But hey, that sounds about what we did too. But that's not that I can't really talk and say anything about it. Uh, so, but anyway, I think we're starting to drag this out. So
Yeah, you want
I
to
think
wrap this up?
let's wrap it up. Let's call it a podcast. So if you guys enjoyed this podcast, make sure to drop a like on this podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel on both of our channels. He's Daily Sports Talk on YouTube. All his links are in the description down below. Uh, follow my Instagram at sam.smithyt. If you have Instagram, follow him at akarnt8 uh on Instagram, right? That's your Instagram, right?
Yes.
akarnt8. You're checking that right now, making sure that's what your Instagram is.
Well, I actually just went on Instagram, and this is the last thing I'm just gonna say. Apparently, the Kings have moved into seller mode, so that could mean Harrison Barnes comes to us. Ooh, I'd want
Sacramento
him.
Kings.
Yeah. Well, yeah, guys, thank you for watching us just talk about sports for an hour and a half.
Hey, if you made it to the entire video, you a real one.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
but thank you guys so much for watching. I'll say it again. Drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel, follow the Instagrams. Both of those are in the description of this video, as long as both of our YouTubes are also in the description of this video. We love y'all. We'll have new podcasts every single Saturday. And with that being said, we'll catch you guys in the next podcast. Peace out, guys.